in my beginning, you know, I just lived such a rich life, you know, a full life, you know, that, you know, my first album I came out, I was 26, and I had seen so many things in the street. So my attitude was like, man, I've seen so much, and, you know, I don't have anything to prove. I know who I am. I'm a very self-aware person, you know. So when you're self-aware, even when you're dealing with someone's ego, you know when to allow it to, you allow their ego to live in its own space. Problem is, when you engage that energy, that's when there's a problem. If you engage the ego with your ego, then it's like, okay, now something has to happen. It could keep escalating to a level that can be irreversible. But if you don't engage the ego, if you know how to manipulate or play around with the ego, and you give light back to darkness.
Right.
We all was raised in the same house, one household. So I was speaking to her the other day. I had a different speech prepared, and I just threw that away after I spoke to her. I asked her, I said, how much money did you make? And she made $20 a week. And she said, no, but it was fine. You could do a lot with $20 in those days. And with that sort of attitude, that's where I grew up. That's how I grew up. I grew up believing I could do anything, that I can accomplish anything because of those strong women in my house. And thank you.
There's a knowing in being an artist. There's a knowing. You can't guess. You can't think. There's a knowing. You have to know that even if it doesn't work today, tomorrow, there's artists that I play that weren't popular at the time that I play more than I play current artists. Shuggie Otis, I suggest you just go look up Shuggie Otis. He was amazing. And at the time, it wasn't this hugely popular thing, but I think when it all said and done, we would play that music more than any other music, right? So you have to have this knowing that, okay, it may not work today, it may not work tomorrow, but this is the right thing, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what's feeding me. So that would be the best advice that I can give you. Just believe in what you're doing. And if you don't believe in it, then you're not doing it. You haven't figured out the thing that you do best yet. When you feel it and when you know, no one can tell you. You only have to be right once.
And I want to remind everybody, you can say easy for you to say, Gary V, da-da-da. I just want to remind everybody, I only give advice that I ate. From 20 to 32 for 12 years of my life, I worked 7 days a week in a liquor store every day and gave up everything. I worked 15, 16 hours a day, every single day. I did not have one Saturday off in my 20s. None. Biggest day of the week. None. Literally, 99% of the people in this room will take more Saturdays off tomorrow than I took off in my entire 20s. It's just true. Like I just need people to know how it happens. I'm very fearful that you see me flying around with D-Rock and you think that's what happened. This is just a lot of work. And don't forget, I'm also rogue. I gave up on school right around 4th grade. So I was willing to take D's and F's and let them push me through the system so I could learn how to sell baseball cards and do all my things. So I've been on this for my whole life. And so, I don't know, I think entrepreneurship's in a very weird place where everybody thinks they are one. I think everybody thinks they're an entrepreneur because they write it in their Instagram bio. And I think that that's not gonna work out. I really don't. And I think self-awareness is something we need to talk more about.
So long we were living in these neighborhoods boxed in, and those neighborhoods were our world. You know, a lot of people from Brooklyn didn't even take a trip to Manhattan. You know, never been in Central Park. It's 20 minutes away, and it's free. It's a free park. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people have never been in it. You know, our little world was all we knew. We didn't know anything outside of that world. So to look and see people that look like you achieving great things is like, oh, there is more, you know, and it proves self-esteem and it improves upon self-worth. You know, because a lot of choices are made from the position of, you know, my life is not worth much, and this sort of living is not much, so if I risk my life, you know, what am I really missing? But if you know how valuable human life is, you have more respect for yours and for others. Being the president of a company is a thankless job, so you had better do it for the greater good and not for yourself, because you know, if you have a successful artist, it's just because they did it. If they fail, it's because you. So it's a no-win situation on a personal level. So you have to just be focused on the greater good, and the greater good is getting, you know, great music out there. However, and really just realizing that not everyone's going to be successful, and I guess that's the biggest lesson I learned.
We are spending not enough time listening to our employees, our vendors, and our customers, but the place where you get the disproportionate highest ROI is when you listen to your employees. Retention on the employee level is imperative. Happiness is imperative because it leads to speed. And speed is the competitive advantage that you have against your competitors in your product and service. And when nobody's worried about politics or drama, they can worry about the work. And so I don't want to spend too much time on it based on the hands, but if you were managing people and you've not had a sit down with one of your employees in the last 6 months or a year to find out what they care about today, whether that's money, work-life balance, title, fame, and more importantly, if you have an employee that is actually seriously important to your business, which, oh, by the way, means if you have one employee and they're the only employee you have and it's you and them, and you do not have an understanding of what drives them, you need to have a 2.5-hour dinner and create that glue. Because one of the biggest things I see in businesses and entrepreneurs in failing is the over-reliance on an employee that leaves and then they have to start all over for 18 months or are completely crippled by it.
I got up around 8, had some breakfast, ran a mile. It was really tough. I just came from Aspen. Yeah, you know, I just wanted to touch it a little bit. I mean, everyone can't be like you, man. I mean,
it's gone away.
So, you know, ran a mile. Then I went to the office, read a bunch of emails, read some more emails, downloaded some music legally. Had a meeting with some great people. I don't want to really say their name yet. After that, listened to some music, went to the studio, had dinner. Oh, went to the Nets game, we won. We're up 3-2. Thank you very much. Went to sleep.
Good day, full day.
Great day.
We are crippled by other people's opinions. You're not posting because you want it to be perfect. Why do you want it to be perfect? Because you're insecure. You know why? Because it just ruins your day when Fat Pants 86 leaves a comment and says that you're stupid, right? You're just super sad when you post something and you're used to getting 89 likes, but this one got 62. I have become outrageously fascinated by something over the last 2 years, which is the majority of people live their lives based on other people's opinions. Whether it's their parents, older sibling, or even worse, the current state, the anonymous person in their YouTube comments. That sucks.
I feel honored to be in these situations that I could use my voice and do the things I do. You know, it's an extension of my family. It's like the things that I do. I tell my family all the time. I tell my grandmother, my mom, you know, they're proud. They're super proud and strong women, and they won't ask me for anything. And I say, man, you know, there are times where I don't want to get my picture taken, and I want to eat, and you know, paparazzi like take photos in your face and screaming at you and like taking pictures, and you can't take your kid to the park. And I'm like, those are the sort of things that the reason why I'm okay with it, and why I can cope and live with these things without, you know, much as a complaint. It's the things that it allows me to do, the spaces that it affords me, the rooms I'm allowed to go in as myself. I walk in every room as myself. I don't walk in any room as anyone else. I'm not cowering, I'm not speaking soft, my voice doesn't change, it sounds exactly the same way. I'm walking as myself and proud, and I speak for us, and that gives me a joy. I'm honored to be in those rooms, and so yes.
Mm-hmm.